What's that?
The in-house prodigy.
Hometown boy makes it good. Now. Are we being broadcast?
Yes, for your instruction.
Hare Krishna. We're live? I thought, at least yours. I thought we had some 24-hour time.
We can do that again if you like, but I got an email saying go for it.
Jaya Radho Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radho Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanatari Jamunatira Vanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanatari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hey! Madhava Kunda Vihari Jarara Madhava Kunda Vihari Jayarara Madhava Kunda Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariba Jigacharya Siddhadashisham His Divine Grace Abhayacharan Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON DVT Founder Acharya Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Kodavaisha Vrinda Ki Namacharya Sharidas Thakur Ki Prem Shikaho Shukishna Chaitana Prabhu Nityananda Shiveta Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Go Bhakti Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadi Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Dev Ki Sambheda Bhaktivedanta Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Sri Radha Giriyadi Ki Sri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Go Premanandi. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the sum of devotees. All glories to the divine Lord Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalana Satashamesha Parano Kodadodita Narayana Namaskritchandaram Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. The Bhagavatam is burned as a sun that has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. If we open that door a crack, if, I prefaced it with if, will it be too cold for you? Let's try just a little bit, a couple inches, 2 inches, just a little fresh air. Yeah, let's see what happens. If you can close it if you're cold. Insulation on. No, we're cool, we don't need all that. Yeah, just grab a seat. Pranayama Jahid Doshan Dharanabish Cha Kilbishan Pratyaharena Samsagan Jnana Hey Krishna Jnanena Ishvaran Gunan Pranayame Dahid Doshan Dharanabhishcha Kilbishan Pratyaharena Samsagan Jnaninan Ishvaran Gunan Pranayame Dahid Doshan Dharanabhishcha Kilbishan Pratyaharena Samsagan Jananena Ishvaran Gunan Pranayame Dahid Doshan Dharanabhishcha Kilbishan Pratyaharena Samsagan Janinan Ishvaran Gunan Pranayamirdahet doshan. Dharanabhishkakilbishan. Pradyaharena sansargam. Jnanenanishvaran gunan. Pranayamirdahet doshan. Dharanabhishkakilbishan. Pradyaharena samsargan. Jnanenanishvaran gunan. Pranayamirdahet doshan. Dharanabhishkakilbishan. Pratyaharena samsargan. Jnanenanishvaran gunan. Pranayamirdahet doshan. Dharanabhishkakilbishan. Pratyaharena samsargan. Jnanenanishvaran gunan. Vaishnavi, Mataji, you want to? Pranayamirdahet doshan. Dharanabhishkakilbishan. Pratyaharena samsargan. Jnanenanishvaran gunan. Pranayamai. By the practice of pranayama. Dayat. One can eradicate doshan, contaminations. Dharanabi, by concentrating the mind. Cha, and. Kilbishan, sinful activities. Pradyaharena, by restraining the senses. Samsargan, material association. Jnanena, by meditating. Anishvaran gunan, the modes of material nature. By practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate contaminations of his physiological condition. And by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association. And by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from the three modes of material attachment. Also, you say, by practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition. And by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all sinful activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from material association. And by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from the three modes of material attachment. According to Ayurvedic medical science, the three items, kapha, pitta, and vayu, phlegm, bile, and air, maintain the physiological condition of the body. Modern medical science does not accept this physiological analysis as valid, but the ancient Ayurvedic process of treatment is based on these items. Ayurvedic treatment concerns itself with the cause of these three elements, which are mentioned in many places in the Bhagavatam as the basic conditions of the body. Here it is recommended that by practicing the breathing process of pranayama, one can be released from the contamination created by the principal physiological elements by concentrating By practicing pranayama, one can be released from the contamination created by the principal physiological elements. By concentrating the mind, one can become free from sinful activities, and by withdrawing the senses, one can free himself from material association. Ultimately, one has to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to be elevated to the transcendental position where he is no longer affected by the three modes of material nature. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that one who engages himself in unalloyed devotional service at once becomes transcendental to the three modes of material nature and immediately realizes his identification with Brahman. Sagunan samatityaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate, Bhagavad Gita 14:26. For every item in the yoga system, there is a parallel activity in bhakti yoga. That's a nice sentence. I'm going to read it again. For every item in the yoga system, there is a parallel activity in bhakti yoga. But the practice of bhakti yoga is easier in this age. What was introduced by Lord Chaitanya is not a new interpretation. Bhakti yoga is the feasible process that begins with chanting and hearing. Bhakti yoga and the other yogas have as their ultimate goal the same personality of Godhead, but one is practical and the others are difficult. One has to purify his physiological condition by concentration and by restraint of the senses. Then he can fix his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called samadhi. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanagyanasulakaya Jakshushri Militangena Tazare Shri Gurave Namaha. People are, unless one has, why go through all of this? Just go with the flow. There used to be a song, anyway, I'll spare you the lyrics, but the point was that it's been a very good life. And when I was 21, this is what I was doing. When I was this age, I was, and that's just life. And it flows like an aged and vintage wine, which is fermented grape juice that a sane person wouldn't drink, but that's another thing. So, why all this angst added on top of things? Just go with the flow. You live, you die, that's what life's all about. And they say your life is what happens while you're standing around waiting for something else to happen, So, but if that were true, animals are extremely tolerant. They just accept their condition. You see this in India, the dogs. The dog's got a bent tail and a bent nose and a broken tooth, and they just one leg, and they just deal with it. But the human form of life, there's a existential dissatisfaction. Is this all there is? This really can't be. There's got to be. For anyone who's, why don't we just accept that's what life's all about? You live, you die, and that's it. But through time immemorial, human beings have endeavored for something higher. So, just like we're convinced that this is real. On one hand we know that it's real, but it's temporary. We think that, at night I dream, and then I awake. Isn't that the general concept? Did you ever have one of those dreams that you think you woke up in the dream, but you're actually still dreaming, and then you realize you're still, sometimes you can take a couple, rebounds to get out of the thing? So, but we're convinced that now we're awake. I'm awake now. I was dreaming. But Prabhupada points out people have heart attacks in dreams. People have nocturnal emission. So many things happen. It appears to be real. So the fact that Prabhupada says daydreaming or night dreaming, it's all a dream. It's all temporary, it's all flickering. But there's there's a higher dimension. There is a higher reality. It's the either-or question. It always comes back to this. Did this world happen by chance, or did it happen by design? And if you accept that it happened by chance, then go with the flow. But it's very hard for a reasonable, intelligent person to really swallow that. We call it, there's what they call it, seamless logic. One should be consistent in one's logic. In mundane ethics, they talk about if you're against abortion, then you have to be against the death penalty. Otherwise, you're not consistent. If life is sacred, then life is sacred. It's not sacred because, So there's consistency in logic. So the consistent logic is that I don't just go with the flow. People make so many plans. Your big, atheistic scientist, he's making so many plans. He's got his college plan for his kids. He's got his retirement plan. He's got his health plan, dental plan. He's got so many plans. It doesn't just, my genes will take care of it with Darwinian social biology. And he immediately takes credit. If he writes some paper, he doesn't say, oh, well, it was just the genes. I really had nothing to do with it. There's actually no ghost inside the machine. It's just, he takes credit. My intelligence, my design, my effort. So the point I'm making about seamless logic is the fact of the matter is that it doesn't mesh with our experience, that everything happens by chance or random. Rather, we find wherever there's order, pattern, symmetry, design, there's intelligence. Now, if there's an intelligence, just like when the Hamsa avatar, this is a form of Krishna in the form of a swan. Now, I think it was the four Kumaras. Four Kumaras were having some kind of discourse with Lord Brahma. Now, Lord Brahma is the first created living entity, like a pyramid, and the point, everything flows from Lord Brahma. So, when the Hamsa avatar appeared, Brahma asked, "Who are you?" What did the four Kumaras immediately conclude, other than Dravida? Something higher than Brahma. How is it there's a living entity that Lord Brahma doesn't know about? There must be another dimension, a higher reality. So, what is it? Is it Sankaracharya says, Narayana Avyaktak, that Vishnu or Narayan existed before creation? Well, what was that before creation? When I was a kid, I'm sure that, I don't think I was completely warped. I used to wonder, if you get in a jet, in a spaceship, and just kept going, did you ever think about what happens? Just keep going through the ionosphere, stratosphere, this one, that thing, and past the moon, past this. Where do you go? I mean, do you hit a brick wall? Does it fold in on itself? What happens? Huh? Endless space. But, so the unless one has a concept, and the same thing, am I just chemicals? Am I just, is consciousness just, Prabhupada's famous simple statement when he was at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Anyone know the question Prabhupada asked them? Yes.
What's the difference between a living body and a dead body?
Yeah, Prabhupada said, you've got so many technologies here, best and brightest, and Prabhupada said, fine, take a dead man, bring him back, the car runs out of gas, you put gas in it, or you reconnect the spark plug, or whatever, off the thing goes. So, just find out what's missing and repair it. I have a heart doctor, because I have a pacemaker, different things happening. And we talk sometimes, he's doing whatever he's doing. And he said, I don't talk about this. His name is Dr. Rappaport from South Africa. He said, I don't talk about this much. He said, but I've seen a lot of people die. I said, oh, well, that's a real comforting. That's a real faith builder. He said, yeah, it's just the law of averages. I see 1,000 people, a certain average kicks off. He said, I'm really not ready to say there's a soul. He says, but something happens. He said, there's just something. And it's not just like you pull the plug. He said, something happens. He said, I don't know what it is. He's a nice guy, actually. So, that's anecdotal, but the point I'm trying to make is that at least it's worth the endeavor. I was there in Detroit. It was a classic example. This man said to Prabhupada, you're all dreaming. You're just dreaming. The beautiful Radha Giridhari. Well, we saw them carved in Jaipur. They're marble. What do we had when I was the temple president, the California Franchise Tax Board came and investigated us because it's a whole story. The short version is we were using an old tax exemption number. It was the wrong number. Somehow or other we were using it, and it popped up on something. And they saw that, how are you spending so much money on flowers? And the man came, he actually came, and when he saw the deities, beautiful Radha Giridhari, nicely dressed, vases, garland, he said, oh, okay, I understand. He went back to my office, you got a stapler, stapled the file shut and said, oh, you won't hear from us again. He could sense the bhakti, the love of the deities. Of course, he was a Christian within the heart. It was a rare moment. But it's the either-or question. Either, that was my point. You're all dreaming. Prabhupada said, the man said, you're dreaming. You're dreaming that, the deities are, and that they're something, that you're going back to Godhead and, whatever it is. It's just like the people that are smoking opium and they have their dream, you have your dream. It's all, you're dreaming. Prabhupada said, all right, let's take that for a moment. You say that we're dreaming. You say it's all a dream. We're just chemicals. We're just drifting through life. And when we die, plant me under a fruit tree. That's just fertilizer. Mulch me up. Okay. But, I live over there at Diamond Apartments. I'd love to get out of there somehow or other. I got to find a place. Anyway, that's another story. But I hear the saga of all the different apartments and all the different, it's like a play. It's like that Our Town by Wilder or whatever it is, everything's going on, and gradually you learn, all the different stuff. The one guy's cheating on his wife and the other guy's doing this and that, I see them every Friday. They're all enthusiastic. They're stepping out on the town. And by Sunday afternoon, they're bedraggled. And then they're off they go for another, what is it, I owe, so off to work I go. My son sent me a little cartoon, and what do they call it, hopscotch? They make that little thing, and you jump. I don't know exactly how it works, and you get points by however you jump. So this cartoon says, it's got all the boxes, and it says, work, 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 and the last one is die. And these two kids are saying, one kid says, you go first, I don't want to go, 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 work, 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 and then you die. So, but the point I'm making is that even if we're dreaming, it doesn't matter. There's no ultimate reality. It's all relative. There's no absolute truth. So enjoy the ride. So we're having a great ride. We're taking prasadam. We're chanting Hare Krishna. We're going back to Godhead. I remember a man stopped one time about a Bhagavad Gita. And he said, I've been watching you guys. This was downtown. We used to do Harinam all the time. Hopefully when my foot gets fixed, if that happens, we'll start doing Harinam again. He said, I've been watching you guys. He said, and either you're completely crazy or you've really hit into something. You've really plugged into something. He said, because you're actually what he first said to me, it was New Year's Eve. I've told it before, I'm going to say it again. It was New Year's Eve, and he came out of, I forget what of that Blue Coastal whatever. I remember looking at the menu, it's all just bones and feathers, and you see the plates afterwards, it's all a stack of mussel and oyster shells and bones. You think, it's like if you went into Cro-Magnon man's cave, and they're the remnants from his, whatever it was. But it's like $150, $200. And that doesn't include dessert, wine, and a cigar. So the guy came out, he came out in a tuxedo, and all dandied up, and he gave me a $100 bill. I said, thank you. So I said, why? He said, I'll tell you why. He said, I'm spending, my wife and I, it's going to be about $350, $400 by the time we're done, dinner. And he said, and we've got 4 other couples with us, so what's the math? That's $800, $900. So then we're going over to the Grant Hotel for the New Year's ball, and we've got the VIP suite, so that's $500 a couple each. He said, by the time we're done, he said, we're going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on tonight. He said, and everybody in that restaurant, he said, they're all on the same circuit. They're all going, who knows how many, and he said, and we're all going to wake up with a headache tomorrow and thinking, did I make an idiot of myself or not? Because we can't even remember. He said, and you know what? He said, you guys, meaning the devotees, he said, you're the only ones who are happy. And given my nature, I said, and you know what, sir? We're doing it for free. Which he appreciated. He got a kick out of it, But my point is that, okay, if it's just a dream, then what does it matter what type of dream you have? Have a good dream. So if there's no absolute truth, there's no reality, or it's just chemicals, we're just pushed by our genes, it's just Darwinian social biology, and there it is. There's no altruism. It's really all it is genetic self-interest. Well, okay, we're having a good time. So Prabhupada said, even if we're wrong, we're right. Because to get old and not be Krishna conscious is a very frightening, depressing thing. There's a lot of bitter old people out there. Trust me. They're not just gliding gently into that long good night. They are not happy about it. And they're dreaming of... And you see these old men now? We're a little off track, but it's okay. You see these... I don't even want to... Prabhupada said things unmentionable in the pages of Bhagavatam. It's all coming out how they've been abusing women. Yeah. All over the whole spectrum. Whether they're in the media or doctors or politics or... Huh? Well, and that lovable curmudgeon or whatever it is, Garrison Keillor, turns out to be a lecher. I'm just saying, and they're 70 years old, 80 years old. Give it up. Yeah, the old President Bush. Give it up. You're 80 years old and you're still dreaming about when you were young buck and sowing your wild oats. It's crazy. So the point I'm trying to make is, even if it's a dream, they're watching it all go down the tubes. And we're having a nice dream. So Prabhupada said, if we're wrong, even if we're wrong, we're right. Then Prabhupada said, but what if we're right? What if we're actually right? What if there actually is... I was reading in Vrindavan, the Gopal Champu. And you can do this after you've read the Bhagavatam numerous times and Chaitanya Charitamrita many, many times. And it's a long story, but I was doing it for a project I'm working on. And It's just fantastic, the descriptions of Vrindavan. I mean, there's a tree that the cowherd boys play on. I forget the name of this tree. Yeah, and it's got caves and bridges, and it's got diving boards into the Jamuna. It's got perfect places for stretching out and sleeping, and it provides all fruits, and it's amazing. They used to have Tom Sawyer's tree when we're far afield, but when I was a kid and I went to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, until you have to leave, and then you run out of money and they throw you out, or you barf all over your sister on the whatever, the spinning cups or whatever it is, But anyway, they had Tom Sawyer's tree, and it was like, I was a kid, and I would go with my friends and my cousins, and we were little kids, and we were so much fun on that tree. So just imagine what's the name of it? Bandiravan. This tree. Imagine what it must. And where do you want to stop? Wherever it is, whatever. What is it? The queens on Dwarka, Prabhupada said this, the origin of tennis, that they play different games, they make flowers, balls out of flowers, and they have different sports on the roof of the palaces of Dwarka. Just imagine if it's true. So the simple point it's describing here is that at least we should make the effort. What if it's true? Prabhupada said, give this one life. Have a nice dream. Give this one life. And what if it's true when you go back to Godhead? If it's not true, well, then so what? You just become fertilizer. And Prabhupada says, we're running out of time here, but it talks about the need for purification. If I'm going to understand the absolute truth. We have the example of licking the outside of the jar of honey, so many things. But one of the first, if you do any kind of experiment, a serious experiment, science experiment, you got to work in a closed system. You got to have a vacuum, because you can't have any impurity in the air. You got to use distilled water, isn't it? Gloves, because if the slightest contamination will blow the whole thing, throw the whole thing askew. So if the need for purification, the real goal of human form of life, is to make a serious effort for purification. And I looked up the word purification, and here's a description. It says, to remove that which is artificial. So all of our bodily concepts, we think we're black or white, we know the whole thing. All of our anxieties, all of our desires, they're all artificial. When I was a kid, I'd like to make a list of the things I wanted to be. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be a lifeguard. Think about it. When you were growing up, how many things you wanted to be? So many things. So it's all artificial. So what is it? The fear of death is actually artificial. So many things that are artificial. So to remove that which is artificial, to remove contaminants, lust, greed, anger, envy, that's what we need to work on. That's the real business. I had before I became a devotee, there was anyway, whatever. This man I knew, and he was a so-called yogi. And he told me one time with great pride that last night, I went to see him. He said, last night I achieved samadhi on a Coke bottle. In other words, all of his senses, everything was completely tuned out. The whole world fell away. And all of his focus was completely fixed on a Coke bottle. I remember thinking, so what? But everything, there's a morning walk, and it's Nayana Baram. You know Nayana Baram, skinny little guy. So Nayana Baram is asking Prabhupada, can we practice Hatha Yoga? Prabhupada said, it is not so important. He said, but Prabhupada, we'll have more energy if we practice Hatha Yoga. Prabhupada said, okay, you can practice Hatha, or you can do, what is it called? And Brahmananda told me later on, Prabhupada went like this. which, you know, when you call them jumping jacks, calisthenics, like you see the Indian army, different army, they're doing their, you know. So Prabhupada relegated Hatha Yoga to its actual position. It's good for exercise. Okay, fine. Get some physical exercise. And just to finish the story. But then, the walk went on, and Nayana Brahma came around and said, but Prabhupada, Hatha Yoga, Prabhupada said, do you see Brahmananda? And you know big Brahmananda. So picture little like Laurel and Hardy, little Nayana Brahma and big Brahmananda. Prabhupada said, do you see Brahmananda? He does not practice Hatha Yoga, and he can snap you in half. So, but when you dance at kirtan, it's the perfection of yoga. And actually, if you chant japa nicely, the breath is becoming controlled, the mind is fixed on you're looking at kirtan. The body's nicely engaged, the mind is nicely engaged, the tongue is engaged, the hearing is engaged. We're seeing the beautiful deities. And after chanting and dancing nicely, you're a little tired, what do? Take prasadam. A newspaper reporter said to Prabhupada, what do you do for recreation? Prabhupada stopped. Prabhupada said, our whole movement is recreation. And as my father said, praised me at his retirement dinner, he said, I'm retiring at 66 years old, sold my business, I'm now retiring. He said, but my youngest son is smarter than me. He retired at 17 and a half. Joined the Hare Krishna movement. My father got a kick out of it, So, there's anxiety in life, just living in this world. Devotees have anxiety just as little impetus, just to keep us focused. Otherwise we'll become lethargic. Like every now and then you get a good swift kick in the pants, keep moving, So that's anxiety, serves its purpose. But everything is achieved by the process of devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I looked up magnanimous too. We'll end in a second. I looked up, just for fun, I looked up, because we say Namo Mahabharanaya, that he's the most magnanimous, merciful, but Prabhupada translated as magnanimous. So magnanimous, the description is generous and forgiving. That we have all of you are great devotees who took birth to push Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Prabhupada liked this. It was Yasodananda and Guru Kripa. Guru Kripa he reminded me of this, that they were preaching in South India. In South India, especially South India, there's many very strict Brahmins. And they can train back their line all the way to Bhrigu Muni or, this one, Kasyapa or this or that, and they very paka, following everything strictly. So they said to Guru Kripa and Yasodanandana Prabhu, it's very nice that you're involved in this Sankirtan mission, preaching and distributing books. And he said, in your next life, you'll be able to take birth as Brahmins in South India. So Prabhupada said, what did you say? They said, well, we didn't know exactly what to say. Prabhupada said, you should tell them, it's very nice that you're strictly following all these smarta principles of, and in your next life, the benefit will be you'll be able to be born in the West and take part in the Sankirtan movement. That will be the real fruit of the thing. So if you think about it, this is samadhi. Whether we're working in the garden or whether you're cooking for the deities or whether you're cleaning, it's for Krishna. We're doing it for Krishna. We're thinking about Krishna, how it would be nice for Krishna, it'll taste nice for Krishna, it'll look nice on Krishna. Let me bring this conditioned soul back to Krishna. It's perfect. So here, later on, anyway, we'll end here. But the simple point is that the 12th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says here also, and it's a theme, 12th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, why is bhakti yoga easier than all the different jnana, karma, astanga? Why? Yes, Prabhu.
Because you're focusing on Krishna. You have an object to which to...
Well, I can focus on the Coke bottle.
Yeah, but it can't give you that.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Okay, because Krishna, but what I was, those are both good answers actually, but Krishna makes the point because it's natural. That's who we actually are. You know, people are, like when, it's a mundane example, when somebody gets home and, you know, snaps off the tie and puts their feet up and, you know, that's who they are. That's their natural self. It's easy to be our natural self. It's not easy to be. I was talking with a lady the other day. We were just, you know, it's a long story. But high heels, why? It's not comfortable to wear those things. Or what to speak of a tie. Why not just wear, you know, a hangman's noose or something, you know? It's not comfortable. It's not natural. And as soon as you can, you take it off, isn't it? As soon as you get a break. It's easy to be what we actually are. What we actually are is eternal servants of Krishna. And we've been created to serve Krishna. And like that Prabhupada said, the finger connected to the hand, it's worth, you'll spend millions of dollars. You cut it off, who cares for it? Millions of dollars if it's got an infection or it's, you know, whatever you can do. So, to cook for Krishna, to sew for Krishna, to clean Krishna's temple, to glorify Krishna, it's natural. It's what we're actually meant to do. So, Kapila is explaining all of this. We're not missing anything. We have gone right to the heart of the matter. That's the beauty that's the magnanimity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the expertise of Srila Prabhupada. They've thrown everything out and they've come right to nothing is lost. It's simplified with nothing lost. Like if I take, 32/64. Can that be reduced? You can reduce it all the way down to 1/2. Have you lost anything? It's actually a clearer concept. So the point is that all the different yoga processes, what is the use? We should start doing plays. Remind me, we should start doing Sunday. I'll be in them. I'm especially good at bogey yogis and dry philosophers. That's my playing to my, what do you call it, my type. That's my natural. Yeah. But the point is that we have so many wrong bank account or boatman, which is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's story. That, the scholar knew so many things. The one thing he didn't know was how to swim. Wasted 100% of his life. So we should have, and we'll end here, that confidence that there is another reality. It's the choice. If you think it happened by chance, fine. Just go your way. If you're willing to buy that. I got a bridge in Brooklyn, I'll sell you 2. But if it happened by design, it means there's an intelligence that's beyond this material experience, back to our Hansa avatar. That there's another dimension. What is the nature of that dimension? What is the nature of that supreme? Whatever it is. I'm not saying Krishna, I'm not saying, you can zip right down the whole thing. If I have a set of numbers, basic algebra, if I have a set of numbers and I take a subset of numbers, can I have any number in the subset that's not in the original set? It's impossible. And Prabhupada gives a much easier example. You take a drop of water in the ocean, you can't have anything, you're not going to have any element, gold, sodium, whatever it is. You're not going to have anything in the drop that's not in the ocean. Isn't it? Now, it happened by chance or it happened by design? Design is a much better case. That there's a logical, cause of all causes. Okay. Now, if that cause is the source of all things, I have a personality, I have emotions, I have activities, I have relationships. How can I have something that's not in the original set? In the absolute. So, if there is a transcendent a cause, like a picture again, a pyramid that this world is flowing from, and there's that point. If there's that higher dimension, that other reality, picture a pyramid and an inverted pyramid. You got me? Like this, and then like this. Okay, the whole material world leads up to Brahma. And then Brahma comes from Krishna. And what's that whole other paravyoma? What's that spiritual world? If there's a cause, if there's a design, there must be a transcendent person who has a form, who has pastimes, who has activities, who has relationships. And man, oh man, that's where I belong. Get me out of here. Get me to that spiritual world. It's logical. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given right to the head of the class. Immediately begin on the platform of bhakti. Immediately meditating on that transcendent person. And not just Narayan. Radha Krishna. Goloka Vrindavan. It's profound. Profound and easy. And tasty all the way. So we can end there. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. For what? Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind if you're present. Well, we'll see what Krishna wants, but I really would like to have it fixed. That would be nice. Have it fixed. That would be nice. Anyway.
I'm going to write to everything I want to explain it. Not only was the one who looked at Brahma meditating, he said,
No, that's when you hold like a walnut in your hand, like a spider. I know that point. But also, where is it? There's a Hamsa avatar appears before the Kumars.
It's not Brahma who asked. Kumars himself.
I meant to say the Kumars.
Oh,
I meant to say Kumars. I meant to say Kumars. Yeah. They said to Brahma, they said, hey, if it's somebody you don't know, what does that mean? It must mean it's a transcendent world.
But he couldn't answer the question. They asked the question that the mind is distracted to the sense side. The sense side that goes to the mind. How does this living entity ever get out of that? And he couldn't answer because he was affected by his creation activity.
I was just talking about when they said, who are you?
Yeah,
they say, who are you?
Comes and then they Mars, that's who are you? And then it goes the whole thing. Oh, who are you? What do you mean by that? Who are you too? Who are you? This whole, the Me Too, with all the ladies coming forward now and saying, yeah, it's good. These are the guys who are trying to see it. I mean, it was a process to get where they are. They have to be extra passionate and therefore extra proactive, integrated. It's like one thing after the whole society can go on. It's the trauma.
Yeah, he's. I wonder if he's.
You want to do more thing on tomorrow?
I heard.